What is going on, everyone? Today is Sunday, the best day of the week, of course. It is Nico Collins Day, as evidenced by Danny's. I guess it's not Nico Collins Day. Tomorrow is Nico
Tomorrow
Collins
is,
Day,
but
which is weird that you're wearing the jersey of the guy facing your team tomorrow, who's set to go for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns.
hey, man, I've already accepted the Cowboys ain't winning this year. So if Nico Collins can get me 40 plus fantasy points, I'll take that trade off. Get another L on the Cowboys L column. I saw number 12 for Colorado do special things on a football field yesterday. Let's get the tank for Travis going. Let's get the tank for Travis.
Yeah, you could definitely
Probably
get
won't
that
get him,
going.
and the Cowboys have I won't go too much on the Cowboys today, but I will. The Cowboys have like the exact layout if you look at the rest of the season schedule, where it's like maybe they beat the Giants, but like aside from that, dude, they're going to be underdogs in basically all of their games. And if they can go 3-14 or 4-13, get one of, again, probably not going to get Travis. He's probably going to go first overall or second overall. Like the guy is just a freak of nature. He might be the best football player I've ever watched. No kidding. But like if you can get one of him, one of Ted McMillan, one of Mason Graham, one of Abdul Carter, by the way, for Penn State, unfucking real. I'm not sure if you've seen him at all. He's ridiculous. Like if you can get me any of those 5 or 6, like, and then my fallback too, like if you get a good head coach, that's when I'm comfortable taking the running back. Like if you get like a Ben Johnson or someone that can use him, then at that point, back end of the top 10, take Genty. But if any of those other guys I mentioned, like Tet, Mason Graham, Shadur Sanders, Travis Hunter, I was thinking Colorado, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, any of those guys available, you take them. Sorry, my rant.
Yeah, it's going to be, it is a very nice day for me. Sorry, I'm trolling with these layouts. It is a very nice day for me when I said the Cowboys were going to stink going into the year and you were copium Cowboys fan, and now you're talking about draft picks.
Half our team got hurt. What are we talking about,
I mean, you guys stunk before that, though, so let's be real.
We haven't been healthy all year.
Like, yeah, what? You remember precisely what my point was, though, is that one player goes down on your team, you're going to suck.
Credit to you. More than one player went down.
There we go.
More than one player went down. Like 8 to 10 of them have.
Okay, so let's get into some of the site questions here. We got Jagarza98. Shout out to a fellow 98er. Best year to be born ever. Darnell Mooney, Trey McBride for Drake London.
Let's click the plus button. I want to see the context A of his team and B, like who's your tight end?
He has David Njoku also.
Yeah. All day, make this trade then.
Yeah, at wide receiver, he's dealing with St. Brown, Metcalf, Ridley, and Myers. He already has Bijan, which is kind of noteworthy because he's getting London. I guess he already has Mooney too. Madison, Aaron Jones, Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, I think this is a trade I'd be willing to make to go tier up for Drake London.
I've been doing that for like a minute. You didn't notice?
Yeah, I'm rolling with Drake London there, Jagarza.
Yeah, especially with the context you do have in Njoku. That made that a lot easier. Calvin Ridley or DeAndre Hopkins is your main consideration. So let's click into that. He also says he has Tillman in the flex. So I am going with Ridley, Tillman, and then what's the second flex decision? Oh, it's just one of them. Okay.
Maybe I don't see Tillman's name here, so I guess Tillman would be the third option.
I'm assuming he probably meant to click him. So put Hopkins in there, but tell like we're saying audibly, you can hear it when it links back to you that we would go Tillman over Hopkins.
Yeah, we would definitely go Tillman over Hopkins, but if there's 2 flexes, then you would start both of them, obviously. He said wasn't in the list, sit one. Okay, so he's saying sit one, which means that
Hopkins would be the sit.
Yeah, Hopkins would be the sit given the tougher matchup versus the Bills. Cedric Tillman, easy matchup versus the Saints. They were easy before Marshawn Lattimore got traded, and now they're even easier. So very good situation.
He was actually on the picks that I may as well just give a little mention to that. But if you guys watched the shorts from this morning, like Tillman was one of my favorite picks of this week because of that exactly. I mean, the Saints, they in terms of the composite were one of the top 12 or so matchups against opposing wide receivers. But that was being carried by the fact that they were number 1 in DVOA against opposing number 1 wide receivers. You know who was doing that? You know who was stopping opposing number 1 wide receivers? That was Marshawn Lattimore. Where is he playing now? He's playing over in Washington. So there's a very real possibility that you just want wide receivers against the Saints moving forward.
Yeah, you would prefer wide receivers to be going up against the Saints. Also running backs as well, because they can't stop literally anything. So that's what we would do there. Where his name is disappearing on me now, but yes, we would sit Hopkins in that situation. Bezecki. Also, I did send out a voucher to Sawyer Bennett and Blau because they've been submitting a lot of questions.
Consistent.
So you guys should have a free start sit question in your vouchers thing. And again, we'll be sure to be on the lookout for people who submit a lot of questions so we can send out free vouchers for you guys. Tight end, I mean, this one's pretty easy because I'm sure he submitted this before Laporta was ruled out, but you can't play Laporta, so you're playing Hunter Henry there. And then at your flex spot, this would come down to Josh Downs versus Jameson Williams, probably for me, and I think I'm rolling Downs.
I actually like Estime this week.
I don't like Estime over those two guys. I don't mind Estime. I think he's a solid play, but I think Downs in a full PPR, Downs just target comp. Like Estime's not getting any receiving usage more than likely. So I'd probably.
I think that's fair. Again, I am a little bit more concerned because Downs doesn't have the greatest matchup. And then, of course, I mean, with Anthony Richardson starting, that is another hurdle. Why did I say Birtle? I don't know what that is. Hurdle. Yeah, I mean, shout out the Raptors, by the way. Cooper Flaghead in Toronto, who says no? Nobody. No. But all jokes aside, Josh Downs, it is a tougher matchup. It is A-Rich. It's close for him between him and Estime. Like, I think I have Estime RB24 and I have Downs as like a fringe top 30, 35 wide receiver. If you're in a PPR, I don't mind going with Downs there, but I do think Estime's got a cleaner projection based off the circumstances around him for me. Like, Downs' projection for volume is nice, but everything around it is what scares me.
So I get that, but of the three Colts wide receivers, Josh Downs is the only one with a positive advantage versus the Jets secondary. Michael Carter, the slot corner of the Jets, has the highest target per route run covered rate of any of the corners for the Jets too. To me, I get that Richardson is starting. I get that it's a bad matchup. I actually love Jameson Williams this week too. So part of me wants to say Jameson Williams, but Josh Downs to me is just a very clear, easy projection.
You have more credits now with no Laporta in the lineup.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think Josh Downs or Jameson Williams can't go really wrong there. I think in a full PPR, Estime has to be third here. Maybe even after Quentin Johnson, given the fucking game environment.
Definitely not after Quentin Johnson.
I mean, QJ's got a great matchup and a great game environment. You could definitely make the argument he's a sneaky play too.
He's sneaky, sure, but I'll capitulate with one of the first two wide receivers. I'm very cool with Downs in a PPR, but like I said, I think I have Estime RB24 and I have JMO and Downs both in the like wide receiver 35, 36 area.
Yeah, and also Jared, Warren is expected to play, just to answer your question there in the chat. Nick says 8-2, nervous Tyreek, with Hill, so. Good deal. Ask for Mooney too. I kind of want Mike Evans here, to be honest.
Rest of the season, you have Evans ranked higher than Hill?
No, not necessarily. But given the context that you're 8-2, and let me see what his depth looks like. I need to adjust. Hill, for some reason, that's not where he's ranked for me. I don't know why it's showing wide receivers.
Where's he ranked for you then?
Like he's at like 15 or 16.
Oh,
I moved him way down. It's not that I'm insane. I think there's legitimate concern that the Dolphins shut him down after a couple more losses.
See,
I think that's the issue I have with it.
Go through their next few games and project the losses for me.
Dude, they've lost to bad teams this year. It's not just
without
a matter of
without Tua.
I guess, man, but they have been bad this year. They're not like a powerhouse team. Okay. It's also the time.
I understand they're not a powerhouse. I understand they're not a powerhouse, but also in their next 4 games, tell me which one that they'll lose. Hosting the Raiders.
They'll probably win this week. Yeah.
Hosting the Patriots.
They'll probably win that too.
This is the loss at Green Bay.
They'll lose that.
Versus New York.
They might lose that, man. Like this isn't a good. I wouldn't put it past them to lose one of those first two, man. This is not a good team.
I disagree. We're skewed over the fact that Tua's missed 70% of the year.
I'm not skewed over anything with Tua Tagovailoa. I realize they've been obviously worse without him. I look at Evans.
The Rams, dude. Like they're not bad.
Honestly, it's more of a pro Evans and scared of the Tyreek risk is the reason I'm doing it. I think in a vacuum, Tyreek projects better, but the schedule for Evans and the fact that they need him to make a playoff push makes way big of a difference to me. Than
the Dolphins don't need Tyreek Hill to make a playoff push. That's why he's active now.
But they lose one more game and the playoff push is gone. They're not making the playoffs.
I don't know, man. The AFC, you could very easily get into the playoffs at 9-8. Let's be real.
I don't know. It's sketchy. I think it's all a risk tolerance thing. Both of these guys have their own individual risks. Mike Evans obviously coming off of an injury. Tyreek Hill currently dealing with an injury. If you want to swing for the fences, you're 8-2 and you have the depth. I mean, you have
Kyron, they're both swing for the fences theses. Like I can also say
Malik Neighbors, Olave. Like he already also has a Waddle too.
then trade Waddle. Waddle's
Like
useless. Waddle sucks.
I think, dude, given the receiver core that you have, man, Neighbors bad vibes o'clock. Chris Olave shut down with his concussion. Waddle is
Tyreek.
useless. T. Higgins is banged up constantly, man. I kind
Stop
of want Mike Evans here.
I'm taking Tyreek. Like, see, the thing is like you're mentioning that. Also, I've heard reports from what's his name, Dr. David on
Chow?
Twitter. Yeah, Dr. David Chow, who basically said that this is a complete pain tolerance thing, and as long as Tyreek is good to play, he will play through this. Like, this is the type of injury where you can go about it with or without having surgery, and even if you don't go with surgery, it's something that you can play through. Is what I heard from him.
So I don't disagree with that. I think you're totally fair in that. But who's been way better all year? Mike Evans, way better than Tyreek all year. And I get that Tua was injured, but Tyreek has been terrible in 3 of the 4 games Tua has played.
Dude, are you seriously saying this year the splits, when literally 70% of those splits were without?
I just told you in the 4 games that Tua has played,
he's averaging 15.7 PPR, 15.7
one
PPR
good
points per game. Sure.
One good game.
Look at Evans's game logs. Is he the consistent option week to week?
He hasn't played a single game without Godwin on the field, first of all.
Okay.
Dude, if you're asking me the question, who scores more fantasy points the rest of the season, I'm taking Mike Evans.
Okay, then take Mike Evans. But the answer here is Tyreek.
But if that's...
You can take Mike Evans. I'm taking Tyreek. That's where we're at.
Okay, so we have absolutely no help to nickel pickle here. To me, given the fact that you have a shaky wide receiver core to begin with, I want Mike here. I think taking Tyreek on more risk and the fact that you already have a Dolphins receiver, to me, is a little sketchy.
Well, why are we completely ignoring the fact? What if Mike re-aggravates his hamstring injury?
He could re-aggravate his hamstring,
which he's done how many times in his career?
0
hamstrings with Mike.
He re-aggravated this hamstring injury. It's the first time it's ever happened.
Okay, but basically what I'm implying is how many times is he dealing with a hamstring injury?
How many times has he played a game through a hamstring injury? And the answer is 500.
Sure, and he's inhibited in a lot of them. Yeah. By the way, sorry, Nick, but it's Tyreek, dude. Like, Tyreek, when he's right, can break fantasy football. Mike Evans, when he is right, can be a mid-end wide receiver 1.
I don't know. With the schedule that he has, bro, he can break fantasy football down the stretch.
Dude, I think Tyreek was in contention for your 101 entry in the year.
He was, but relax. He's clearly not healthy, and the Dolphins' offense clearly isn't right. The assumption of Tyreek being my 101 or 102 or 103, whatever he was on the basis of him being a difference maker, which he has been in 1 total game this year. One.
If he scores his touchdown in either of the Arizona Buffalo games, we're not having this discussion right now.
I don't know, dude. Tyreek has had 1 good game all year. 1.
I get it, but it's Tyreek fucking Hill. He will be good.
I think it's...
you're getting an extra week of production. It's Tyreek. You're like, I understand. This is like Mike Evans to you is like CeeDee Lamb to me. Relax, brother. Like, there's an answer here.
It's not a like homery Bucks take. It's more anti-Hill than anything.
You're faded. I mean, you got control. You click who you want, but Nickel just heard that.
I'm taking Mike, bro.
Go ahead.
I mean, fantasy football. Who scores more fantasy points the rest of the season? I'm taking 13.
I mean, the guy that averaged, 25 points per game last year is just not going to...
Danny, is it last year or is it this year?
He's played 4 games with his quarterback.
Like, yeah, and he was shit in 3 of them. Shit.
He had 70-plus yards in 3 of them. What are we talking about?
He had sub 11 PPR points in 3 games.
He had 70-plus yards in 3 of them. Like, what?
Yeah. Also, that 1,000 streak, I can promise you the Bucks are going to try and get that for him. I can promise you they're going to try and do it.
That's fine. Also, this is way too much to get.
I wish it was any other player than Mike Evans because I just sound biased at this point in time, but I swear to God, it's more of like an I'm very worried about Hill take.
Go ahead. I think this. I hope Tyreek goes out there this week and reminds
the 3rd hardest defense against wide receivers.
I get it. It's Tyreek fucking Hill. I don't care who's on the other side of him.
This game has Mostert and Achane combining for 4 touchdowns written all over it.
Cool. In terms of this question, by the way, there's no wide receiver in fantasy you would pay this for. Because there's no wide receiver. Like, I wouldn't pay this for. Jamar Chase.
Let's take a look at the depth here. It's a start 7 league. It's a 10-teamer. So
would you pay that for Jamar Chase though?
I'm just looking at the team because if he has 5 great receivers, then I would pay this.
Yeah. Fair.
So Achane, Pearsall, Nico.
He's got 1.
and Metcalf. In a start 7 league, you're starting Collins, Metcalf, and Wilson as your top 3 receivers on any given week and so on in reserve. Yeah, I think this is a little too steep for me, but at running back, you're going to be playing Gibbs, Mixon, and Achane on every given week. So you actually aren't going to be flexing a receiver most of the time. This is a bench player. One of these guys is on your bench most weeks.
I mean, if that's the case, Jamar Chase.
I agree with you. I think I'd rather get a better receiver than AJ Brown.
I'm not doing it for AJ first and foremost.
I think Jefferson or yeah.
Like, there's only 3 wide receivers in fantasy that, even with the context of it being a shortened league, would be worth this package. I'm not paying this for Amon or St. Brown. I'm not paying this for insert wide receiver here.
I'd rather pay it for St. Brown, though, because I have St. Brown over AJ rest of the season.
Oh, for over AJ, yeah.
Yeah.
There's 3 wide receivers, though, and it's Justin Jefferson, it's Jamar Chase, it's Nico Collins. That is the tier of 3.
Well, he has Collins on his team. So.
That's what I mean. So it's Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. I'd be paying that for in the
again. Call me crazy. I'd rather have St. Brown than Collins.
You're
rest of the
insane.
season. I have Collins 4. He's my wide receiver 4 rest of the season. I'd rather have St. Brown.
There's no way you can take them. They're throwing the ball less than 28 times a game, bro. You can't take St. Brown over
week
Nico,
over week
bro.
for the Lions is nails. So the projection week over week for the Texans is not nails. That's the difference.
I get it.
We're talking 2 elite players. That's a tiebreaker.
I don't think Amon is at that level. I think
Danny's
he's your mid-wide receiver 1.
Someone confirm this in the chat to me. Why does Danny not?
Has Amon ever scored over 20 points per game in his career?
Millions of times. You remember his fucking rookie
over
year?
20 points per game.
30 points per game week.
Over 20 points per game on a season. Over 20.
Yeah, he was a 20 point per game scorer last season.
What did he average last year?
20.5 or something like that. He was literally over 20 last season.
Nico was scoring,
in my league winning wide receivers.
Nico was scoring over 22 per game, and that's including the game that he pulled up lane with a hamstring injury.
Sure, but it was also a short sample size, and there's samples you can pull of Amon-Ra doing the same thing. He did it as a rookie, over 20 points per game in a small sample size. You
said short sample size, like he didn't have 1,300 yards last year.
No, he was excellent last year, dude. We're talking 2 elite guys. One is 3 and one is 4. They're both elite. I agree, both are elite.
I view Nico as a half tier above. Like, I view Nico in the tier with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
That's a fair distinction. I think the Lions' offense is untouchable, and they're projected for 30 points every single week, which is why I prefer St. Brown.
And they throw the ball 27.7 times per game. So, like, if they were throwing like last year, you have a point because they were throwing.
You're right. They throw it 27.7 times per game. 11 of those go to St. Brown.
I get it. Again, still, there's a big difference between 35 attempts versus 27. They were throwing the ball 35 attempts per game last year. That's the difference. The peripherals are all the same for St. Brown, but that's the difference between being a guy that can be a 20-plus point per game scorer versus what's he averaging now, 17 and a half. Like, he's good.
Yeah.
I think he's a good mid-wide receiver 1, but that's what he is, a mid-wide receiver 1.
The hate is
he's
so
not
real for you on St. Brown.
It's not even hate. He's just not on the level of Chase, Jefferson, and Nico. Straight up. He's not.
Yeah. If you want to say that as that's fine, but saying he's a mid wide receiver 1's wild.
Why is that, dude? Mid wide receiver 1 by definition is like wide receiver.
If he's not 3 for you, he should absolutely be 4. Is my point.
He should be in the 4 to 8 discussion. I'll tell you exactly who's in my.
If you say that Malik Neighbors is over St. Brown, you are nuts.
I do not have that. Sorry, here. Let me submit these through, and then take a look at who.
If you utter the name CeeDee Lamb over St. Brown, I'm literally going to smack you silly.
Brother, you have access to my rankings. You could see if I did that. I'm not that faded. Yeah, I have him at 7. I would take Puka. I would take London. I would take AJ Brown straight up over Amon-Ra.
Yeah, I'll give you AJ, but I think the other ones are a little faded.
By the way, I didn't call Amon-Ra a mid-wide receiver. I called him a mid-wide receiver 1, which is wide receiver 4 to 8. In fantasy,
he ranks as like 4 to 8 is what he means. But I still think you're faded for that take. I think he should be at least if you think Collins is ahead, I still think he's in the top tier.
Okay, Drake London, AJ Brown, Puka Nacua. Tell me why he's demonstrably a better asset moving forward than any of those 3.
Because on a weekly basis, he has the exact same level of targets,
which is why Drake London is averaging
big play upside as all those guys, and he's on the best team.
Drake London has that role on a team that throws the ball more with Atlanta.
He does. You're right. But he also sees number 1 corners on the outside that can limit his matchup upside. We saw it.
Has it mattered for his production
this week against Patrick Surtain?
Has it mattered for his production?
Yeah, it has. He's had down games against good defenses.
Drake London has had down games. When?
He has like 4 games where he was like 11 PPR points.
He had 1 bad game against you guys, and every other game this year since week 2 has been in double digits, including a 33.4 game against you guys. They're basically the same asset.
Sorry, this made me laugh.
What do you mean more stats? I literally quoted the stats. They're throwing the ball 8 times per game less.
Anyways,
maybe if you were
this is a
listening, you would have heard my
nonsensical
stats.
argument because we're literally arguing over peanuts.
No, but Grant's, he's saying you're throwing snap. I literally told you the amount of passing attempts per game less that they're throwing this year. How is that not stats? Like,
also, what do you mean Drake London only had one bad game? He had 7.4 PPR points in week 8.
Since week two.
Okay, so we're gonna ignore week 1.
Okay, sure. Include week 1. He's had 2 bad games. Fuck. Does that make you happy?
Yeah, I mean he's averaging less points per game than St. Brown is, so that's my point.
He's the wide receiver 4 on the year. What's the difference in points per game right now?
17 to 15.7.
And he left the game early.
St. Brown did the same thing.
When? What game did he leave early?
Week 6. He left the game early.
When?
He had a limited route participation. It was later in the game than London did, but he left.
Was week 6 not the week they played Tennessee, or am I faded?
No, I think that was later on in the season. Either way, we're arguing over nonsense. Let's just keep going. Yes, but J Moose, we would hold the DK Metcalf and Garrett Wilson side of that trade unless you can get a better receiver, a la Collins, St. Brown, Chase, or Jefferson to make argument's sake easier.
Sorry, not against Tennessee. It was the game against Dallas where they won 47-9. And if you're telling me that the Lions won't do that to multiple teams this year,
yeah, but I've never understood the argument that I don't want this player because
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying he's in the same tier as these guys, which he evidently is.
Yeah, that's fine. Anyways, undecided at wide receiver 2 in flex. Hart says CD, but I don't know. So I'm definitely starting Metcalf and Samuel over CD.
Metcalf and yeah. I don't
so disagree. Samuel and DK. I think given the yardage output that we are going to see from the Cowboys offense against the Texans, what's the over under total yards by the Cowboys offense? 190 against the Texans?
I think that's pushing it a little bit because we'll have some on the ground. In terms of the passing offense itself, though, let's take a look.
45 Cooper Rush passing yards.
Let's take a look at the pick'ems right now. I don't think it's going to look as bad as last week. I'm not saying it's good, but...
No, I'm not saying it's going to look as bad as last week either, but I would imagine on a weekly basis, you're very, very disappointed with the passing offense, and Lamb will have to have 50% of the passing yardage and passing targets to be a relevant wide receiver 1.
Well, look, I have Lamb at, 21 this week. I moved.
Damn, I have him higher than you do.
Well, the difference is since I made my update, I moved Tillman, Jennings, and Ridley over him because Tillman, the matchup I just looked at, it was too good. Jawan Jennings, no George Kittle was a big decider, and then
wow, you have Jawan Jennings over CeeDee Lamb. Imagine saying that back in week 1. That you have disgusting. Jawan Jennings ranked over CeeDee Lamb.
It's disgusting, but I mean, fuck, I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, so it's funny because I literally have Lamb at 19. I actually have him higher than you.
Yeah, it's just so 180.5 is the set passing yard line right now, and they are implied for 17 points. It's just honestly, I'm just nervous about the offense. That's kind of where it is, and I'm sure that's probably the most obvious thing for everybody listening. But I still think he's a strong wide receiver too. It's just I think this specific matchup is also tough.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. But yeah, that's how we would set. Your lineup there, CRB56.
Well, on top of that, too, he does have the questionable tag, which is a part of the reason why I dropped him as well. I think he's going to play.
I'm not overly concerned about the injury. That doesn't sound like the team is, but he's at 19 because I think he is enough of a stud that I think you could still start him as a top 20-ish receiver, but there's definitely, if you have Metcalf and Samuel type of options, there's no way I'm playing them.
Well, I was going to add context to that too. I think he's going to play as well, but there's also context that it is on the Monday night game where if he doesn't play, again, doesn't sound like he's going to sit out, but it is part of the equation. If he doesn't play, then you're left in a situation where you have to force pick up a Jalen Tolbert or force pick up. I mean, you're lucky if Tolbert's even available. You probably have to pick up at that point, maybe a Ryan Flournoy or a Jonathan Mingo, which is I don't think anybody wants to do.
Yeah, this is somewhat Blau. You're trying to make us argue. This is a make us argue question right here. Because if you don't say this is Bucky Irving, you're faded.
Why would I say it's Bucky Irving?
Because Rico Dowdle plays for the worst team in the league.
Yeah, and Bucky Irving splits touches with 2 other running backs.
Doesn't matter, bro. He's killed Rico in fantasy production this year. Hasn't been close.
When? What?
He's averaging
have you not tracked
per game.
Dude, what? What are you talking about?
Bucky Irving's 11.8 points per game this season.
And Rico Dowdle has 96 points in 8 games. What do you mean he's killed them in
96?
production?
Okay, well, the points per game total of Dak being on the field is probably also not projectable going forward, whatever it is, if it's closer than I thought.
He had 15 touches last week, and he's the bell cow running back on his team. I understand the offense sucks, but Bucky Irving's splitting touches with 2 other running backs.
1. We're not using Tucker that much.
Okay, 1. And
we also have a very easy schedule too, which factors in, and we're going to be scoring points.
I mean, I'm fine if you want to take
he
Bucky.
Also asked White or ETN as well. Like, would you rather have either of those guys to Bucky?
I'd rather Rachaad White.
I'd rather have Rachaad White than Irving. So
I would rather Rachaad White than both. So yeah, give me Rachaad White.
I do. So this sounds crazy, but I do actually not mind the idea of buying ETN a little low. Maybe not for this price tag, but if you could get him a little bit cheaper, because I saw a lot of fantasy docs like extremely worried about Tank Bigsby's ankle injury potentially being like a multi-week potential IR thing. And I get that Mac Jones is awful and the offense is really bad, but ETN he could stack up a lot of receptions over the next couple of weeks, in my opinion. So that would be the only thing I would say about that. But yeah, if I had to pick a winner straight over this trade, I would pick Bucky Irving. But if you can get Rachaad White, because you have it listed here, would you swap Rico? Oh, actually, he has Rachaad White on his team. No, hold on. White. Who is he talking about? Would you swap Rico for Bucky White? Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah. Bucky White.
Different teams he's dealing with, right?
Yeah. Different teams you're dealing with. Again, I would do this trade, but I would rather have Rachaad White, I guess, is the easier answer.
I would rather him to Bucky. I would rather Rachaad White to Rico because the receiving work.
Michael said there was a trade in the listener league.
Is there?
He said, speaking of Rachaad White. Oh, yeah. Ricky Pearsall and Madison were traded for Rachaad White in the listener league. I'll push it through really quick.
Okay. What was the deal? Sorry.
It was Ricky Pearsall and Alexander Madison for Rachaad White.
Ricky Pearsall and Alexander Madison for. I want the Pearsall Madison side.
Are you a Madison truther all of a sudden?
No, I just really like Pearsall.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a fair trade though. If you need running back, I would say, because Rachaad White's been getting some good usage.
I will say though, like, I know I'm a Madison bag defender because I have him in the flock league, but I will say after this week, I think we're going to be feeling a lot closer to what we were feeling about Madison a couple weeks back before that Bengals game, where it was like, yeah, you could play him. He's volume. Like, I think that's what he's going to end up being.
Sorry, I think with Zamir White back, we don't see that type of workload anymore.
Well, Zamir White has played 4 games, Danny, and he has not exceeded 14% of the snaps since he's been back. So he is.
They had their bye week though. He could have gotten healthy over it. I just think
they're going to go back to the tape and be like, we should use more Zamir White.
Yeah, I mean, when Alexander Madison's your other option, I don't think mixing it up is a bad idea.
Brother, Madison's been bad, but he's been better than Zamir White.
They both suck urine at football.
Yeah. Anyways, why couldn't the Raiders have just drafted Audric Estime? He would be like a fucking RB 18 in points per game right now. Half PPR 5-5. London on bye next week. Is this good? So you'd be trading Tracy, who's on bye right now, London, who's on bye next week, for James Conner, who's on bye, who has a smash matchup, and David Njoku here.
So unless you're desperate for tight end, I'm comfortable.
Okay, well, who does he got at tight end here? Let's take a look. Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm cool with Tucker Kraft, to be honest. I want the Tracy London side, because if I were to look at it and think who can actually win me my league, I think it's the Tracy London side. And at 5-5, like if you're 3-7 and you're desperate right now, that's one thing. Like, okay, you need to win a win. You need to win a win. You need to win a week. Like, you can't afford to eat the bye. I get it. But when you're losing this much value and you're in a 5-5 spot and you can still make it up going forward, especially like, dude, Tracy's schedule off the bye the next couple of weeks, man, like I would not be shocked if he's like the skeleton key you need in BBM, to be honest.
Yeah, he's got a nice schedule. London being on bye definitely sucks for you next week, but all you're really doing here is losing a bye week at wide receiver and downgrading from London to Pickens. And you're not getting anything this week because Connor is obviously on bye also. And David Njoku to Tucker Kraft is I would say a pretty marginal upgrade. I don't think it's like, I love Njoku. I think he's a top 6 tight end.
Tight end one.
But I don't think it's a big enough upgrade to make this deal, in my opinion. If you were getting like Deebo Samuel instead of George Pickens, I think I would make this a little bit closer. Like if you're getting a slightly better receiver back, closer
See,
to London.
I actually have Pickens, I believe, ranked higher
I'm at
than
15, dude. I have him pretty high. Like I like him quite a bit.
I have Pickens 2 spots after Debo, actually, my correction. But regardless, though, I view them as like the same asset, pretty much. Pickens versus Debo.
Yeah, I don't. I have Debo at wide receiver 7 rest of the season.
Well, the main difference is I have more faith in the other ancillary wide receivers with Jennings and Pearsall, which I think personally will limit Debo's ceiling. I think weekly ceiling, great. I'm talking more so holistic seasonal ceiling.
Yeah, the way I look at Debo rest of season, if you guys need a trade target, like get on it ASAP for Debo Samuel. The way I look at it is that Christian McCaffrey, talked about skeleton key for BBM. Christian McCaffrey is a skeleton key for this offense. And if this offense is playing really well, I want pieces of all of them, but specifically Debo Samuel is going to have a very, very easy time creating big plays if they're scoring 30 points a game.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I moved him up over Reed and who was the other one? Moved him up over Reed and McLaurin. That was the
like I have him. If one of the Rams receivers didn't exist, obviously I would definitely take one of them was alone over Debo Samuel because they both exist. They're behind Debo for me because
I think at least one of them has to be above Debo. I mean, from a production standpoint, they've been similar to Amon-Ra. I mean, we just talked about that earlier. That's why I have Puka in that tier.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair. I'm really projecting like a sun running of the 49ers offense. It's more a pro 49ers take than it is an anti-Rams take. And again, Kupp and Nick are going to yo-yo a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I think that's fair that they're going to yo-yo.
Okay, so next question we got here from AJ. PPR League, thanks for all the help this season, boys. Of course, AJ, really appreciate that. Gesicki, Kmet are your tight end options because Laporta is out. To me, this might be like a boots on the ground football person take, but Kmet's usage when Shane Waldron was OC was really irritating for the longest time. And the the Packers are really good against wide receivers, but they are horrid against tight ends. They're 29th against tight ends. So I kind of like this to be Caleb Williams to Cole Kmet for a 2-touchdown spot. Cole Kmet is good for 3 2-touchdown games a year. And honestly, I can see one coming this week.
I think that's sound logic until I saw Mike Gesicki on the other side.
Well, Higgins is playing, so that's the other part of it as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I am curious to see how they divvy up the usage because obviously with no Higgins in the lineup, he was playing a lot more slot. But I have a hard time seeing, especially with Burton giving it inconsistency. Andre Yoshivas, I mean, he's like a good locker room guy, but realistically, he's not commanding a ton of targets on the field. I just think Gesicki's probably their 3rd best pass catcher in terms of overall volume. And I mean, in the last 3 weeks, we've seen 23 targets. So I understand it's riskier because we don't know what the projection is with Higgins in the lineup, if he's going to play the slot or if they're going to keep him out there in line. Like, we don't know exactly what's going to be happening, but I got to follow the targets. And maybe after the weekend, I'm going to be like, well, fuck, I should have known this because Higgins was back, that he would be relegated back. But 8 targets, 6 targets, 9 targets is just speaking to me. That's where I'm at with it.
I get that, but the highest rated receiving weapon on the Bears is Cole Kmet right now. And he has easily the best matchup on
that's so gross to think about.
It is so gross to think about, but it's fact. It's
I mean,
according to PFF, it's actually not even that close.
Yeah. I mean, they're both similar projections with him in mind.
Yeah. I don't know. I can sense a Cole Kmet game coming from a mile away.
I mean, can I tie break with this? Which offense would you rather watch this week? Thomas Brown-led Bears or the Joe Burrow-led Bengals?
Definitely the Joe Burrow-led Bengals, but I think it would be fun.
It's also on Sunday night. You get excited. Like, just imagine you're going into your Sunday night game, seeing Gesicki catch every pass, and you're like, oh, fuck, I started Cole fucking Kmet earlier in the day.
I don't think people are going to regret starting Cole Kmet this week, man. I think he's going to have a nice game.
I mean, we'll see.
Are we capitulating, or are we just going to be completely undecided?
I don't care enough about this question, to be honest. So okay. You can click in who you want.
I'll give you a veto on the next one. And then flex consideration here. You want McConkey, Mooney, Tillman, or Myers? I think they're all pretty close, actually.
Jennings or Tillman? Ooh, Jennings or Tillman? Jennings or Tillman? They're back to back for me.
Where'd you? Oh, Jennings is in there too. You are already starting Samuel for what it's worth.
Then go Tillman.
Yeah. So I actually have Mooney the highest of this group.
The matchup's tough, dude.
Even non-Sertan's going to be on London.
I get that, but even still, the game environment, Denver's defense has been good overall. Like, I'm Mooney's been living off of big plays against untidy back ends. Pause.
Yo,
Whoa. Pause.
that is
Yo.
crazy.
Hold up. Sorry about that.
Untidy back ends.
Untidy back ends is a crazy
Got a white,
call.
bro. You have to white.
Oh shit. I just think Denver's got a tidy back end. It's really
they got a clean old ass.
I mean, are we just gonna capitulate now because I gave you the tight end?
I'll let you make the decision. You want to go Tillman here?
Yeah,
or...
give me BC Tills, baby. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I like Tillman would be my second highest ranked guy. So I have Tillman. I have Mooney at 21, Tillman at 24, McConkey at 27. I have Jennings. Where's Jennings? Jennings, I have a little bit lower because I probably should move him up now though, since the Kittle stuff. I'm gonna move him up to 30, and then I got Jacoby Myers.
You moved him up to 30?
I didn't have him ranked that high because I had like Sutton ahead of him, JSN ahead of him, Downs ahead of him.
But you said you
Hopkins.
moved him up to 30.
Yeah, he was at 35 before.
I have him at 21, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to get there with Jennings. I have
though?
Pearsall at 38, so I think they're going to be a little bit closer together, those two.
They outproduced that last week with Kittle on the field, and now Kittle's off.
Yeah, all three of them are in my top 36.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I can't really put Jennings much higher than like. Am I going to start Jennings over Cortland Sutton? Sutton's been outstanding for like 3 games in a row.
I have Sutton at wide receiver 24. I think he's strong. If you want to rank him over Sutton, that's fine. 35 is disrespectful for Jennings, brother.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I'll tell you exactly who's in front of him. Sutton.
Yeah.
I'm not putting him over Sutton. Sutton's got a great matchup.
I'm cool. I'm cool with putting Sutton, but I have Sutton at 25.
So JSN had 37 points the last time we saw him.
Okay,
and it's a game environment where they're going to have to throw.
Weeks 1
matchup on the field.
Weeks 1 to 7 with DK Metcalf, 10.8 PPR points per game, 21% target share. In the 2 weeks without DK, we saw that whole production, 24.9.
Yeah. Or hear me out. Instead of taking a 2-week sample size, how about we just see that a young player can play a little bit
Actually,
better.
the 2-week sample size was favoring JSN. The 7-week sample, when DK was on the field, make this guy a borderline wide receiver 3. And now I have JSN as my wide receiver. Where do I have him? 29 this week. Like, I don't mind him, but
that's where he's ranked for me.
You cannot be starting him over Juwan Jennings. There's simply no reason to do that.
I'm starting him over Juwan Jennings. If I had that decision to make, I would
PPR start right now, write it in.
Yeah.
Write it in. Ridley, I have Ridley slightly higher. I actually have Ridley.
Yeah, I have Ridley at 23. So
I'm at 19. So like you probably have like more way too high and Shakir.
No, I have DJ Moore at 36.
So who do you have in your top 20 to 30 then?
I have Khalil Shakir at 22 with no Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman.
I have him a little bit lower because Cooper's going to be back.
I have Mooney at 21. Maybe I need to move him down a little bit.
You got to move him down. He's 28 for me.
Yeah, I'm going to move him down below. I'm going to move down below McConkey to 28 as well. I had Devontae Smith lock into 20. I don't know if that's someone you have lower.
I had Devontae Smith at 22, so it's not like he was.
I don't think there's anybody outrageous. I think I just have the guys like from where I have Khalil Shakir at 21 all the way down to like honestly like Jacoby Myers at like 32. You could probably jumble those guys all into a hat.
Yeah.
Like I have Khalil Shakir 21, Calvin Ridley 22.
Did you say you have Myers at 42?
32.
Okay. I have my 32 as well.
I have Khalil Shakir 21, Calvin Ridley 22. This should answer a lot of your guys' questions.
I think you have Shakir too high because I think he's a consistent, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. I think that's fine. But I don't think he has the ceiling of some of those other guys. Like he doesn't have the ceiling of Tank Dell. He doesn't have the ceiling of Lab McConkey, in my opinion. He doesn't have the ceiling of Sutton.
I think he does this week. I agree with you in a vacuum, but I think this week without Dalton Kincaid, Keon Coleman, with the best matchup of the 3 receivers on the field, I absolutely think Shakir has a big ceiling this week.
So we already have a bet for Jennings then. You want to do Shakir versus Tillman?
I mean, it's 21 versus 23. If you have somebody different, I'd rather do that because I have Tillman quite high and I like him quite a bit this week. Okay. I would do Shakir versus, I guess you already have Jennings. Do you have Hopkins ahead of him?
Yeah, we can do that. Where do you have Higgins?
I have T. Higgins at 17.
Okay, so you have him higher than me. Yeah, I mean, we can do Hopkins versus Shakir. It's funny because they're actually in the same game. We can do that.
So let's do Hopkins versus Shakir. Who was it? Jennings versus?
Jennings versus
JSN.
JSN. Yeah,
Yeah.
JSN.
Okay.
And you probably have Brian Thomas Jr. higher than I do. I'm at 31.
I have Brian Thomas Jr. at 35, so I do not.
Okay. So I mean everything. Josh Downs is the other guy then. Okay.
Yeah, I have Josh Downs at 25.
Yeah, I moved him a couple spots up. I think
This will probably answer a lot of people's questions too, and we can actually do the thing that we did at the end of whatever last stream or 2 streams ago, where we kind of just went through our rankings at the end there as well. Khalil Shakir, Calvin Ridley, Cedric Tillman, Tank Dell, Josh Downs, Ladd McConkey, Darnell Mooney, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Cortland Sutton, Jawan Jennings, DeAndre Hopkins, Jacoby Myers. That is my wide receiver 21 through 32. They're all very similar. You could probably jumble them in any which order, but that's the order that I would start them if I had any of those players.
You said 21 for 30, 21 through 32?
Yeah.
For week 11. 21. So I mentioned that it was the 3 stack with Ridley, Jennings, Tillman. I moved over Lamb just because I really love those guys' projections. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. Then after that, I have Devontae Smith 22, Higgins 23, Hopkins 24, Sutton 25, McConkey 26, Tank Dell 27, Darnell Mooney 28, Jackson Smith-Njigba 29, Ricky Pearsall at 30, Brian Thomas Jr. at 31, Jacoby Myers at 32.
You have Sutton too low.
Really?
Where did you have him? Did you say him or no?
I have him at 25.
Oh, okay. Then you didn't say Downs then, right?
No, Downs would be my next guy.
Yeah, Downs to me is a little too low for you.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. That's more so just baking in the A-Rich, but I think you can make the case. See, realistically, I should have Brian Thomas a little lower. It's just, if I had Brian Thomas, would I have the balls to play Downs and DJ Moore over him right now? I don't know.
I have the balls to play Downs over him for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
DJ Moore, definitely not, because he's been so shit. But
I think that's fine. I'll move Brian Thomas down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm quite worried about the yardage output for Brian Thomas. It's not that he has a great matchup, and maybe Mac Jones passes for like 175 yards or whatever, but I am very worried.
I want both over Amari Cooper.
Yeah, Amari Cooper, I'm not that excited about this week at all.
Jameson?
It's a horrible matchup.
So Jameson Williams is 37 for me.
Yeah, so I have Ricky Pearsall at 36 and Jameson Williams at 37, and DJ Moore, Brian Thomas, Jalen Waddle were 33 to 36 there as well.
What about a running back? Are there any running back bets that we like?
Let me find somebody that I really like this week.
Like, I don't think we're going to be arguing.
I have David Montgomery at 14, so if you want to do a Montgomery bet, we could do that. He said
16 for me. It's not like I hate him.
We got to do an Alexander Madison bet. Madison versus Estime. Do you want to do that?
You have Madison ranked higher than Estime?
I do.
Do you hate fun?
No, I do. I don't hate fun. I absolutely hate myself for having Madison as high as I do. I just think his matchup is better, and he's getting similar workload, and he actually gets receiving work.
I've never met another man who enjoys sex less than you. Because that is sexless.
It is so sexless. It is so sexless. But I think Madison's gonna outscore him. So
sorry, Maria. I'm joking.
I'm not coping. And Jelly Boy, I have to start Estime in my home league this week, so I actually am biased on both players. If that makes you feel any better.
I'll go Estime. Sorry, that was fucking hilarious.
It's a Madison week, man.
It's never a Madison week.
If you guys want a nice, bet for today, Alexander Madison anytime touchdown, man. He's scoring today. I'm calling it,
bro. It's never Madison week, bro.
It's Madison week. He's gonna fumble, have fucking 7 carries for 8 yards and fumble.
Bro, or he's gonna be there in the 2-minute drill, get nothing on the goal line, and then punch another one. Wasn't it the week he had -1 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown? I think I started him in the flock league that week.
He had 9.5 fantasy points like 4 weeks ago on 5 catches for like 18 yards or something, and
14 carries for 15 yards.
14 carries for 15 yards or something like that.
Yeah, he's just urine at football. That's where
he's so bad. But you know what? He's better than every other running back on his team, which is why he's getting the workload.
They all suck. All right. What's another one? Like, where do you have like Chase Brown? Where do you have Chase? He's RB1 for you, right?
I know you're just always ready to glaze Chase, but I have him at 16, so I have him pretty high.
Oh, so you're faded. I have him at 12, and I think I'm actually lower on him this week.
Nah, Chargers are a strong run defense, and
they
like
are.
the guys I have ahead of him, Kenneth Walker, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, and Kareem Hunt, just have better matchups than him.
Josh Jacobs has a better matchup?
Yeah, dude. The Bears have been shit against the run. They're literally like 30th in DVOA.
Fair. Sorry, who was I thinking of? Not fucking Josh Jacobs. Who? Oh my god. Dude, I'm so baked. I was thinking of James Cook against KC. Why'd I think fucking Josh Jacobs was playing KC for a second in my head?
I don't know.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. Regardless, though, I'll take Chase Brown versus someone you have in that.
I'm putting 20 bones on Madison to score. Like I'm doing it.
Do you hate money?
I absolutely can't stand money. I can't stand it.
I mean, do you have like? I don't want to do Kareem Hunt because I play against Kareem Hunt, so I don't want to jinx that in. Like Dobbins, honest to God, Dobbins, Jacobs, fucking Aaron Jones, whoever the fuck
we just did Madison and Estimate. Why are you looking for another one?
Because I'm fucking fiending.
I have
bro.
Nick Chubb at 22. If you want to do a Nick Chubb one,
I have Nick Chubb at 23, bro. It's just
okay.
Fucking...
I don't have James Cook inside my top 16.
You want to do? I was gonna offer you Rico Dowdle versus Bucky Irving, but y'all are on bye.
I'll do Rico Dowdle versus Travis Etienne.
They're like they're literally back to back of me. I'll do Rico Dowdle. I'd offer him versus Alexander Madison, but you probably wouldn't even take that.
I have Madison one spot higher, so I definitely could.
Who do you have 2 spots higher than Rico?
Etienne.
3 spots?
Pollard.
So where do you have Rico? Probably like 27, 28?
28.
Okay. I mean, everybody else, do you have Najee over him?
Yep.
But this is the grossest bet of all time. Let's do
You're
Najee.
actually going to take Rico over Najee this week?
Let's
Warren
do it.
Banged up? Oh, you're stunned. I'll do that.
Warren's playing.
He's playing, but he's banged up.
It's the Ravens, bro. He's going to rush it 15 times for 41 yards.
Yeah, and Rico Dowdle's going to rush it 17 times for 31 yards.
Dowdle's actually efficient. You hating, bro. You hating.
Dowdle against a top 5 run defense without Dak? No thanks.
What did we consider Philadelphia last week?
When he had 8 PPR points? Is that what you're victory lapping right now?
No. But he was efficient. 4.42 yards per carry. I was talking about his efficiency.
8 PPR points. That's what we're betting. Is that what
I get that. He had 15 touches. I get that. But I'm saying you said he wasn't efficient because he's playing.
I never said he wasn't efficient. I said he's not a good play.
Okay. All I talked about was his efficiency. I said he's been efficient. You're like, oh, he plays the toughest defense. It's like, he's been efficient. It's not wrong.
You sound like me bag defending J.K. Dobbins for the last 4 years. He's been efficient.
I mean, hey, if Rico Dowdle can become J.K. Dobbins, I'll take it.
Rico Dowdle wishes he had 10% of J.K. Dobbins' ability.
I don't know, man. I think Rico could be a quality fucking back for a while in this league.
20 bones. Alexander Madison anytime. We ride.
You hate money.
I hate cash. I hate it.
Oh, man. Sorry, that was a big-ass sidetrack.
That was a sidetrack. Someone asked, what's the reward for our betting thing? I need to actually go back and count them. They're all in my notebook here. I got a notebook beside me all the time that I have all of our bets. I need to go back in and actually count who won and lost in some of them.
The thing is, if you guys are watching on stream, probably only 80% of them are actually recorded down.
Yeah, the ones that are recorded down, I can go.
Are the ones you're winning? No, I'm kidding.
The ones I can go back and find that are recorded. We, if you want, we can scrap the record beforehand. If you don't trust me to actually count them,
I don't give a fuck. I'm trolling you.
But if you want, we can start from now if you'd like. I don't actually know who's winning or losing. I have no idea.
It's honestly whatever your heart desires. I really could care less.
Okay, I'll go back and find some if I can, and I'll count them up. I'll do that during the 1 p.m. slate. I'll make sure we have an accurate tally.
Yeah. By the way, did you see Mason and Sal went to the Lakers game together, and then Sal changed his name to Bug Spray?
Yeah, is that because he's playing Nathan this week?
Yeah, so I'm gonna do a whole bit about how Sal's Mason's new Padawan on the Flock League channel.
Yeah, kind of some glazing going on by Mason. Might have to make a clip about that. You're like, Mason, you go to a basketball game with Sal? Kind of sus if you ask me.
Did you buy his ticket too? Are you whispering in his ear about a potential trade opportunity for him?
Yeah. Okay, so let's set this Blau's lineup here. This is just free voucher.
Oh, that's May. I'm so baked. Why did I think that was Burrow based off the hair?
You need to learn how to read, bro.
I couldn't see, bro. I had the screen zoomed out.
I mean, if this is a super flex league, you're starting May because you have listed here May is in consideration. But if it's not a super flex league, I'm gonna go Brian Thomas of the rest of these options. I think. Don't say Rico Dowdle.
In a PPR, it's B Tom, but
it's not. It's B Tom in all facets, bro. Get out of here with your Rico Dowdle glaze. You're the reminder that Danny called me biased about my Mike Evans take earlier. And he's still glazing the worst offense in the league right now.
What am I glazing? I said Rico Dowdle is a fucking workhorse on a bad offense. That's true.
Well, first of all, he hasn't been a workhorse until maybe this week because they said they want him to be the workhorse. But it is a terrible offense.
You do the running back videos. You'll know that he's been getting a big.
He's been getting good touches. Yeah, 60% snap share type of stuff.
Hey, he's in the business of some good touches.
Yeah, so does Madison, for what it's worth. So that's not saying much.
Any Madison touch is a bad touch. Let's be real.
Hey, I'll take Gardner Minshew over Cooper Rush any day of the week.
They both fucking urine.
Anyways, that is the answer to Blau's question there. Again, if you guys do want to skip the line, we didn't actually plug this at the beginning. I'll fire it into the chat. But the first link in the description right now is how you can ask us a question over on the site. We'll try and fire through some free questions in the meantime. And at the end of the stream, we'll do like our quick reveal of the site rankings as well for the last like 5 minutes. If you guys need some help there.
Big news. Sorry, I got to mention this.
What's up?
Speaking of skeleton keys for BBM, Isaiah Pacheco is expected to be healthy for Week 12 game against the Panthers.
Brother, let's go check the ticker here. I will show you my absolute best BBM team, and it is insane how hard this thing could sun run. Like I'll show you in a second. But
I've showed you my big dog team that's scaling now, right?
My big dog team is in 4th and just got 34 points from Saquon on Thursday night, so that feels good.
You know what? That might just do it.
Continue to do it here. Let me go exposure here. I'm only 55 points out of playoff spot now too. The second place team, the first place team's team is absolutely unreal, so I'm not going to beat him out. But the second place team has been having some bad weeks here. Isaiah Pacheco, my rostership was 15% of Isaiah Pacheco in BBM.
15.
And my rostership of Christian McCaffrey is 13.8%.
You got 14% McCaffrey? How?
I did. I got a lot of 101s this year.
I didn't, and when I did, I wasn't taking. I mean, realistically, McCaffrey's the only one that. I mean, actually Tyreek now, but like
everyone sucks.
You didn't want to
that went in the first round, except for Jefferson and Chase.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. The Bijan is the third best first round pick.
I mean, St. Brown's been fine.
I take Bijan over St. Brown.
Yeah, but like as far as who's been okay, like positive advance rate players, I'm sure St. Brown and Bijan have positive advance rates. I mean, Brees maybe can turn it around. For sure.
You know who's hear me out? Trey Benson after the bye, baby. That's what we need. We need the Benson after the bye. Just random, but like I just looked at my big dog team and saw him.
Anchor RB.
I will say though, dude, I'm in second place right now, and I missed a bunch of time from Nico and DK. So let's get her going, boys.
Okay, this is the team. Look at this. This team is like not super high scoring, so it's kind of pod luck here a little bit, but the team itself is a horse. Look at this. So I got Jordan Love, Brock Purdy as the quarterbacks, McCaffrey, Barkley, Pacheco, Hubbard, and Tracy as the running backs.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because Pacheco and McCaffrey on the same team is probably extremely hard to advance. Debo, McLaurin, McConkey, Watson, AD Mitchell, Polk, Franklin. Okay, the wide receivers aren't great, but the tight end core is Bowers, Hawkinson, and Conklin. This team had Hawkinson, Pacheco, and McCaffrey on it, and it's advancing.
Yeah, so basically on a week-to-week basis, you're going to need a lot from your third receiver, and it just so happens that the way Ladd's been playing, maybe he supplements it. You're going to need a lot to go right at wide receiver, but with the rest of the team, like you're set up well.
The quarterbacks, running backs, and tight ends are insane.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really good. There's another one that I had called Sun Run. Where is it? This team as well as a Sun Run team. This one's Burrow, Goff as the QBs, James Cook, Rashad White, Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, Khalil Herbert, and Tracy as the running backs. So again, kind of a sun runny thing. Look at this receiver core, dude. Look how sun runny this receiver core is. Chase, Collins, Evans, B-Tom, Myers, Leggett, Douglas, and Whittington's kind of useless. And then Laporta, Auden as the tight ends with the run. This team's just like really balanced, honestly.
Am I in your pod there?
Probably.
Probably like a last then.
No, you're not in this one.
I'm not in that one. Wow. Not in that.
But anyways, we can whoops, that's not the right one.
Damn. That just reminds me that I gotta trim this beard. It's looking gross.
21% Pacheco for me. Yeah, you'd love to see that. Okay, let's go back to the top and start answer some free questions here. Like I said, at the end of the stream, we can do a
site too.
Yeah, I got the site pulled up still. I can still see if we get any new ones. If we do get any new ones, I'll go to those. But we'll do a little 5-minute afternoon delight at the end of the stream if anyone needs help with their lineup here. Mitchell says, "Hey guys, please pick 3: Garrett Wilson, Khalil Shakir, Tank Dell, Jalen Waddle, or Jawan Jennings." Wilson and Shakir are very clearly 2 of them for me. I'm assuming the last one will come down to Dell versus Jennings for us, I would imagine.
Jennings.
I would play Dell. I have Dell higher, but I'm assuming you have Jennings higher.
I mean, for what it's worth, I have Jennings higher than both Dell and Shakir here. So, I mean, we're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah, I have Shakir higher than Dell, so that tie breaks that he's one of them.
Okay, so Jennings, Shakir, and Wilson.
Yeah, I
have Jennings higher than both.
I'll capitulate Jennings over Dell. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I have Jennings legitimately over both.
Yeah. London, JT, Kenneth Walker, Sutton. So start 2. You're starting
the 2 running backs in the middle.
Yeah, I think with the Surtain matchup, you got to probably play the running backs. As much as I love London, just in general, I think it's a slightly worse matchup there. And then Aubrey, or what other kicker would you stream instead?
I'm cool holding Aubrey.
I'm cool holding Aubrey, but if you have like McPherson or something on the waiver wire, I'd be totally fine picking somebody like that up.
The reason why I'm okay with Aubrey is it's an NFL team. You're not going to go out there and play as bad as you did against Philly. Am I going to go out there and say, oh, yeah, the Cowboys are going to score 30 points this week? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, instead of like a 6-point demoralizing, you can't even move the ball against Philly type of offensive performance, I think maybe we see like 14 to 7 or 13 to 17 points, like at least sustainable bad offense production. Because 6 points is just, it's not going to happen every single week.
No, probably not. But at the same time,
Rush is a professional backup. Like, I don't think he's going to go out there and look completely lost again. Again, it is what it is. And not to mention with Brandon Aubrey, you don't even need them to consistently get down to the 20, get down to the 30 every
time. It's actually almost, if Cooper Rush can just like move the offense,
get past the fucking 50-yard line,
that's actually good for Brandon Aubrey. So dude, I don't disagree with that, but I do think you're going to have 3 or 4 games where you score like 6 points the rest of the year.
No, we probably will. I will say too, like the Philly
that's 2 field goals. So.
That's what I mean. Like even against Philly last week, I believe he scored me like 7 points because of that. But like, not to mention, like Philly's defense has been playing fucking great as of late. Like, I'm not sure if you've been seeing, like, tracking along, dude. So again, it is what it is. It's gross, but at the same time, anytime the Cowboys are inside the 45, dude, even anytime the Cowboys are inside the 50-yard line, you know what they're fucking doing. Like, if it's 4th down inside the 50-yard line, they are kicking a field goal.
Yeah, and they're gonna have like a touchdown drive per game max, in my opinion. So all the other drives, if they're able to move the ball, are gonna end in Brandon Aubrey field goals.
Yeah. Also,
he's like actually the one guy on the team that's not bad.
Also, Jonathan, respectfully, when Skylar Thompson goes on a 4-game win streak, we can talk about him as a professional backup because I've seen Cooper Rush do that.
Oh yeah, QB wins are a stat. No, but Skylar Thompson's absolute ass.
Like Skylar Thompson is like Tim Boyle tier. Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah, no, he's not a good quarterback at all. Yeah. What else we got? Dynasty trade, Bigsby, Coker, late 3 for Njoku and a 4. Yeah, give me Njoku in a early mid 4. I like Coker and Bigsby, but yeah, you take an Njoku there. That's a needle moving asset. Can you? Oh yeah, we did approve this. Full PPR start 3: Cup, London, Lamb, Chase, and Brown. What Brown is that?
Chase Brown.
Oh, Chase Brown. Yeah. Okay. So Cup. Oh, it's Chase and Brown. I see. I'm stupid as hell. I thought this was Jamar Chase.
No.
I didn't see that there was a. I thought there was a comma. All right.
No, so, I know that was just hilarious because I'm like,
was funny.
You're
sitting CD here though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're sitting CD. That was fucking hilarious. Let's go, Cody. Let's go. I mean, we may as well share our shorts since we haven't yet. I'll let you throw yours up while I'm putting mine in the back.
Mine are already there. So Quick shout out on the Underdog pick'ems today. Of course, you guys know that's the wrong thing here. Tail our picks over on Underdog. Use the promo code FSE when you sign up for up to 1,000 in bonus cash. New customers today can also get this Aaron Rodgers free square as well. My running back and my wide receiver pick'ems have been live on TikTok for a day and a half now, so I can't guarantee that all of these will still be the same totals. But I like Calvin Ridley higher than 4.5 receptions. I mean, he's been a 32% target share guy since Hopkins left. Jacoby Myers higher than 56.5 receiving yards. He's been a top 24 receiver in like 4 of his last 5 games. And then I like McConkey to go higher than 21.5 longest reception. And you might actually even get that down to 20. He's had a catch of over 20 yards in 6 of his last 7. So I like those 3. And then my running back ones were David Montgomery higher than 57.5 rushing yards. Jaguars so bad against the run. Classic David Montgomery pound the clock out game. Travis Etienne higher than 14.5 receiving yards. I like him to catch a lot of passes from Mac Jones in this one. Without Tank Bigsby on the field, he should be running routes. And then I like both Hunt and Jacobs to find the end zone today. The Bills bad against the run. I think they're going to use a lot of Kareem Hunt. And then Green Bay with Josh Jacobs there. Jacobs has not been great from a touchdown standpoint. He's only scored 3 this year, but I do think against the Bears, they're going to have a heavy dose of Josh Jacobs for a floundering Bears team. I think they're just going to take care of business.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I'll go quickly to my my Sunday morning picks, and then we both have our wide receivers right after this.
I already did my receivers while you were loading stuff in.
Oh, I'm baked. Sorry.
Those are mine right there.
I didn't realize. So you went through your running backs then?
Yep, I got mine are all good.
All right, perfect. So my wide receivers here, Cedric Tillman higher than 55.5 receiving yards. I did mention it, but in the 3 games, obviously after they traded away Amari Cooper, he's gotten legitimate wide receiver 1 usage. The Saints, like I said at the beginning of the top, at the top, they are a top 12 matchup versus opposing wide receivers, and that was carried by the fact they were number 1 in DVOA against number 1s. They trade away their number 1 cornerback there in Marshawn Lattimore. With how Tillman's playing, I really like his higher on the yardage output, 75 plus yards in those 3 games prior to the bye. Demario Douglas higher than 3.5 receptions. He's gone higher than this in 4 of his last 6 games. 14 targets in his last 2. And it's funny because last week when we were making our pick'em, his line was at 3.5, and we pushed it to 4.5, and he finished with 4 on the dot. So this time I didn't want to get too tricky there and try to up it. I moved it to 3.5. And then, of course, George Pickens higher than 69.5 receiving yards. I mean, Baltimore, need I say more? We saw what happened on Thursday night. They are terrible against opposing wide receivers. The single worst defense against wide receivers this year. On top of that, Pickens legitimately looks like a number 1. He always had the peripherals, but with how Russ is playing, and speaking of Russ, I also like his higher, 230.5 in the other pick'em. Fun fact with the Ravens defense, 8 of their 10 games this year, the quarterback on the other side has thrown for higher than 230.5 yards. On top of that, with Russell Wilson, him himself is averaging 246 per game since starting for the Steelers. So really like him in a pass funnel matchup to produce against Baltimore. Travis Kelce, I mean, you'll know this from the Flock League, but this guy, as of late, has been
He's been a hammer. Been an absolute hammer. In PPR, especially, he's been a hammer.
40 targets in his last 3 games. So
the only player that I consistently get 5 trade offers a week for on my team.
He's a monster. I talked about all of his numbers, just ludicrous stuff in that short. Chase Brown higher than 0.5 rushing plus receiving touchdowns. It is a little bit riskier because the Chargers defense has been very good, 13.1 points per game allowed this year. However, the Bengals are still implied for about 23 points. Chase Brown has scored 7 touchdowns in his last 7 games, and he scored in each of his last 3. On top of that, we just came off a game where he had 100% of the Bengals touches. So we like that. And then finally, Devon Achane higher than 35.5 receiving yards. He's gone higher than this in 5 of the 6 Tua starts this year. Didn't cross it last week, which is probably why the line is as low as it is, but we're trusting arguably at this point, is he the second best receiving threat on that team right now with how Waddle's played?
Probably. Fuck. It's pretty bad at this point in time. Okay. You want to hit a little 12:50 p.m. delight here and go through some ranking stuff to give people who didn't get their questions answered. We'll fire through this here. Okay. So you guys can see, let me move us around a little bit. We are going to go down here. Okay. So you can see, I have it sorted by my rankings, but you can see where Danny has them ranked on the side too. I'll switch it around for us between running backs. But the range that people are going to have start sit questions for, you guys are starting all these guys above, but this range we kind of went through. Again, we differ on some of these. You have a Shakira a lot lower than me. You have Ridley a little bit higher than me. We're pretty close in terms of Dell, Tillman. You have Downs a little bit lower. McConkey is basically the same. Smith and Jigba basically the same. You have Sutton a little higher than me. So that's kind of the range. If you guys are looking for wide receiver start sits, I would imagine you guys are looking in that territory. DJ Moore shouldn't be at 33. So I have him at 36 in my fantasy pros. I have to quickly update that if I need to. He's behind Myers, Jennings, and I also moved Jennings up, which I had not set there.
You see that 19 versus 35.
So in the manifesto, I update that like periodically as we're going through the stream, but it's harder to do that with the site questions while we're live. So Jennings right now is at 30 ahead of Hopkins for me right now. And then Myers I have at 32 ahead of Waddle and Thomas Jr. So I moved both of those two guys up during the stream. And I also moved up Pearsall to 36 ahead of Cooper as well. So those were like the major changes that I made to my rankings. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward in terms of where we have these guys ranked. And then do you have anything on receivers? Should we just switch over to running backs quick?
I think we could just go over to running backs. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like if you just check the top, maybe people are in DFS. They kind of want to see maybe our lanes. Maybe who knows? Maybe that helps you guys out.
Yeah, I can't imagine any of you guys are sitting these players, so it's probably not going to be super helpful up here. But this is, we have these top guys, the ranked the way that we do. But yeah, the running back position's a little bit more interesting. Again, the top guys are pretty self-explanatory, and then this is the range that people are probably deciding between for the most part.
Yeah, like I have Dobbins higher than you do this week. I have, and more so with that, it's just the majority workload he's getting. I understand Gus has been involved, but at the same time, it's still going to be a large lean to Dobbins. And I also really like the game environment in terms of the implied total for the LA Chargers. But I'm sure more of that between the 14 to 21 range. It's just so close to the point where you can literally argue, who do I have at 21?
I have
DeAndre Swift. You can argue that I'm way too low on him.
Yeah, I'm at 20, so he's like in a similar range for me. You have Stevenson a little bit higher than me. I had B-Rob lock in a little higher. You have Estimate quite a bit higher than me. That's the one difference here.
6 spots. I mean, it's not outrageous.
Yeah, I think you're a little low on ETN and Harris, but I mean, not low on them, but I
have them one spot higher than you.
Yeah, just like Estimate, I guess, is the reason I say you're a little bit low. But yeah, there's a large tier of like Montgomery and like Chase Brown and Kareem Hunt and James Cook and Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, all those guys like high-end RB2 type of plays. I got an offer on the table for Calvin Ridley right now. He asked what I wanted. It's in a dynasty league where I'm tanking. So he's basically asking like, what do you want for Calvin Ridley? And I told him like something who's like valued around like an early second round pick. What do you think I should send him to try and get Calvin Ridley off of my team here? I'm looking at his team. He doesn't have a second rounder in 2025. So that's kind of out. I'm just looking for a player that's worth an early second rounder. So he has Pittman. He has McConkey. I don't think I'm going to get to Ladd because he's also producing.
What dynasty league is this?
This is a Bitcoin league.
Okay, so I'm not in it actually. Okay.
No, I don't really love anything that he has, to be honest.
Wait,
like what I would want is like, what does it take for me to get to McConkey?
I mean, what do you have? Just throw in Ridley plus a fucking random win now piece.
Like Estimate, maybe.
I think he would probably want like a more proven older producer.
Well, I have none of those. I have, me with a tanking team. You think I have any of those guys on my team?
Well, like you have Ridley. That's why I was.
Ridley's the only one. Like I have the rest of my receivers are Drake London, Romo Dunze, Marvin Harrison, and draft picks.
I mean, who's the offer? Who's the guy with? Like who's the guy that you're offering with?
I've fleeced many times.
Offer him. It's gonna sound crazy. Offer him Ridley for McConkey and say how far off do you view it? Like if he says no.
Oh, I almost just offered him Ridley for nothing.
Yeah, like genuinely speaking, maybe he doesn't want to do that.
Throw Ridley in a third at him and see if he does that.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, may as well. I mean, according to our Devy league, apparently people want to be valuing Zach Ertz as Devy second rounders. I'm not sure if you saw the whole discussion today.
I did see that. see that.
Dude, shout out Brock if he's in the chat. But I threw the trade discussions in our group chat, and we're like, the guy's really crashing out because you do not want to trade for Zach Ertz off his team. That's what's happening.
Dude, anybody who thinks they should get a Devy 2 for Zach Ertz when he's worth what is Zach Ertz worth? A 4th round rookie pick?
Bro, and then out of courtesy, again, Brock doesn't even really want Zach Ertz, but it's like, okay, I'll throw him an offer. He threw him the depleted he threw him the depleted rookie third, which again, like on face value, sure. Is Zach Ertz worth more than a depleted rookie third? Like he's probably worth.
I don't think so, to be honest. I think I'd rather have a depleted rookie third.
But like that's what he offered, and you know what the reaction Brock got back in the message was? Bro,
I read it.
Dude, he was crashing out on Brock because Brock didn't want to deal for Ertz. Setting paragraphs about Zach Ertz's stats.
Oh, I know. I saw.
Sorry, shout out Brock if you're in here. If not, then I'll G. But someone crashing out about Zach Ertz is about as dynasty as you can get.
Yeah, no, literally. Do we have confirmation that Kittle will be out also? Because it said he was
highly expected.
Yeah, unlikely to play was all we got though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just
he's not been ruled out technically.
The 49ers are usually cautious with this shit, so I would be shocked if he was a surprise active. But who knows? I mean, you remember way back in our day, back in week 1, guess who was a surprise inactive? I forget.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that the 101 I never get, and it's always worked out for me that I don't get it.
Like, the year you get
the last like 5 years, I've been in my home league since 2016, and I have never gotten the 101 ever. I've actually never even gotten the 102.
Fun fact: in my home league, the year I got 101 was it 2 years ago when McCaffrey was traded to the Niners? That was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I had the 101 that year, and I drafted him when he was on Carolina.
I didn't. The closest I've gotten to 101 was I had the 103 in 2017, and I took Le'Veon Bell, who finishes a top 5 running back that year. That was the closest I've ever gotten to the 101. Otherwise, I was 104 to start last season. I was 104. Who did I pick this year again? I picked Lamb.
You traded for Breece Hall.
103, I guess. I was this year as well.
You traded him for Breece and JSN, right?
Yeah. And then I traded him right after the draft for Breece and JSN.
Yeah. And then in my home league, like I was saying, that year I got 101. Other than that, I usually pick at the back of the draft. Actually, last year, I still won't forget myself. I took Diggs over Lamb because I'm like, I don't want to be biased. And then
devastating.
Should have been biased.
You should have been biased. The year I won in 2020, I drafted CEH at 106 in the first
I remember
round.
that. But then you
traded
for
Kamara in the second round, who was a stud, so that helped.
You traded CEH for Kamara, if I remember right.
No. I kept CEH the whole year. I traded Mixon and Antonio Gibson for Kamara. Antonio Gibson's rookie season, and Mixon just had a 40-point game against somebody.
You won because of the 56-pointer on Christmas, right?
Yeah, I mean, Adams had 35 too. So it wasn't just Kamara. No. I smoked him without the Kamara blow-up game.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just saying that was the year, right?
That was the year. 2020 was the year I took CEH. It was his rookie season. And then in 2021, when I won my home league, I took Devontae Adams at 109 with my first-round pick.
I'll tell you right now, nothing will beat the feeling when, dude, that day, because again, it was Christmas Day, bro. And if you guys don't know me on Christmas, like, I can drink a good amount. Like, I'm not sober on Christmas. Let's just say, like after we do the formal stuff, of course. But when I'm with like the fucking cousins and shit, it's not. You know what I mean? So I am like drinking wine, and I'm probably like 3 bottles deep that day. And I was watching the Saints Day or the Kamara Day on Christmas that day. And I'm telling you right now, when you're watching a game and you need a player to go off, and he scores 6 touchdowns, and you have some wine in your system. Holy Toledo. Like I don't know why I said holy Toledo, but holy crap. Like I sound like Avery now, but holy crap.
that is like a very calm swear that Avery would use. Holy Toledo.
Dude, he said one on the video, and somebody commented like, "What the fuck are you saying?" He's like,
I love that Avery doesn't swear. It's so funny to me. I don't know why. It's just so hilarious to me.
He said like fork and shirt balls or something like that.
I love that. I mean, somebody's got to balance you and I out in these vlogs, though. So
I'm quite the swear chimney, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh God, he just sent me proposed. He goes, I don't think Ridley's worth that. Let's see. He's like, here's some guys I think Ridley is worth. He sent me a list of players: Hollywood Brown, Deontay Johnson, Cole Kmet, Brenton Strange. Apparently that's what Ridley's worth. Quentin Johnston and Jalen McMillan. He's like, these are a list of guys I think Ridley is worth. I'm like, all right, dude, I'll keep the fucking 20-point per game receiver.
All you have to say is respectfully, are any of those guys a wide receiver 2 in fantasy in the last month?
Yeah, I don't know. They're not even a wide receiver 2 in fantasy. Ridley's been a wide receiver 1 in fantasy the last month.
Also, dude, he's the one who's trying to buy production. Did he really think he's just going to offer you Brenton Strange and call it a day?
Yeah, I don't really know why he thinks Brenton Strange would appeal to me.
Yeah, Brendan Strange is quite the asset, bro. At least according to Nick Foles. It's technically 1 o'clock, but I'm looking through.
Anyways, appreciate you guys for joining us. Good luck in your matchups. Hopefully I can actually win a home league matchup this week, and hopefully I can take down Tommy Boy, Steven Swagall in the Flock League. He got 3 points out of the Commanders defense, so that helps. I don't know why he started the Commanders defense.
That's what I was going to say. Why did
I don't know what the hell he's doing there, but if I lose because Lamar Jackson drops 46 points or something, I'm going to be so fucking mad.
Bro, you ready for the classic battle 1 p.m. slate between me and Thomas, where I have Breece Hall, Tyreek, and DeMarcus or Robinson against his Kamara, Montgomery, and Adams? If I even them out on the 1 p.m. slate, I'm calling that a win. I think straight up.
Yeah. I mean, let's prayer circle really quick, Danny. Breece Hall for my big dog team, for my home league team, for my listener league team. Let's get a 40 bomb from Breece Hall today. Like, we need a monster game from Breece Hall.
3 tugs and 8 catches. How about that?
I want a 90-yard touchdown in the first 10 minutes of the 1 p.m. slate from Breece Hall.
Yeah, I'm cool. I have the Rams D too.
Touchdown within 10 minutes.
I have the Rams defense too. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But, anyways, appreciate you guys for joining us. Good luck this week. Hopefully we have no injuries and hopefully everyone wins.